Welcome to W&L Sports Weekly. I'm Jeremy Franklin. This week we'll speak with men's basketball coach Adam Hutchinson, women's basketball captain Wesleigh Vick, and women's swimming captain Mary Gabe. But first, a quick look back at the weekend in Washington Lee athletics. In their final home event of the season, men's and women's swimming both picked up dual meet wins over Catholic. Up at Kings Point, wrestling dropped Centennial Conference matches to Merchant Marine and Muhlenberg. At the Liberty Open, Ian McDonald led men's track and field by winning the 3,000 meters, while the women's team claimed the top three Division III finishers in the pole vault. Women's basketball scored a 69-61 home victory over Hollins, and men's hoops lost a 69-62 decision on the road to Lynchburg. I'm joined now by men's basketball coach Adam Hutchinson. Adam, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
I want to talk about first-year Clayton Murtha. He had a career-high 23 points in the game at Lynchburg. Over the last several games, he's averaging about 17. He's now third in the ODAC in field goal percentage. What has enabled Clayton to contribute so early in his career?
First, I think, would be the skill set he brought with him. You know, he's got good hands. He's got a good touch. I think his temperament matters a great deal. He doesn't really ever allow himself to get sped up to rush. So, you know, he's kind of able to read the defense, take his time, and take advantage of what's there. And last but definitely not least is his teammates have recognized that he's a high percentage scorer, and so they've made a point of, let's play the game through him, let's get him the ball. And so when that happens, you're going to have more opportunities. Overall, offensive production has been a struggle at times for your team this season. What do the Generals need to do to develop more consistency on that end of the floor? I think scoring basically comes down to how many shots you get, and out of that, how many you're going to make. So, I mean, it's a very simplistic way of looking at it, but that's essentially what it is. You know, Clayton scores at a higher rate than other guys, so we need to make sure we get him the ball and then play off of him. We're shooting the ball well from the perimeter, and now that we've established Clayton, certainly you would expect some teams to start making adjustments, take him away, and that opens up easy shots for other people. And then don't turn the ball over. You know, if you don't turn the ball over, you get shots, and the more shots you get, the more you're likely to make. I think those are the two variables. We stick to those two things, and you know, hopefully we can be efficient offensively the rest of the way.
After a couple of close calls early on in ODAC play, your team has been able to pick up one possession wins over Roanoke and Embry and Henry. Do you feel like the Generals are learning about what it takes to finish out these close games?
The politically correct answer would be yes. But if you looked at both of those games, we made some mistakes down the stretch in both of those games. Shots, you know, maybe we shouldn't have taken. Shots we shouldn't have taken. Stuff like that. So, you know, we made some mistakes. They weren't able to capitalize. We won. I think it would be a stretch to say, oh, we've got it figured out. You know, but we have 5 wins on the season. 3 of them have been one possession games, I believe. So, you know, we do have some understanding of how to do it. I wouldn't say we mastered it. I think there's still a lot of room for growth there. But it's always comforting to know, oh, we've won some close games before. It's not as if, you know, you're going, we can't. We have. And so hopefully you kind of look back at it and you say, well, these are the things we did well in that situation, and the next time you're in a situation, you do it better.
What are the Generals' goals for the last month of the regular season?
I think, you know, just to continue to improve day to day, you know, practice to practice, certainly game to game. It's hard when you get, you know, basketball's a long season, so it's hard when you get pretty deep into it to feel like, you know, you're going to turn from one thing into something completely different. But certainly if you kind of chip away at the little details and improve on this and improve on that, it allows for what appears to be great improvement, but really what it is, you know, you're just addressing little things. You know, so for us right now, if we shoot the ball better from the free throw line, that would really help us. If we eliminate second shots for opponents, that would help us. If we're able to cut our turnovers, that would help us. And again, these are small things, but, you know, just daily focus goes a long way towards improving on those things. And then, you know, hopefully it allows you to win some of these 1, 2, 3 possession games.
Adam, thanks for joining us here. Best of luck the rest of the season.
All right. Thank you, Jeremy.
Here with me is Mary Gabe, senior swimming captain from Mequon, Wisconsin. Mary, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
The Generals have returned to action in January with dual meet wins over Bridgewater and Catholic. How pleased have you been with the way the team has competed so far in the new year?
It's been going really well. I would have to say honestly that throughout the season we've really exceeded the expectations we've set for ourselves at the majority of our meets, and these two have been no different. For our meet against Bridgewater, we were coming right off of training trip, so we'd been training really hard for a week down in Miami, which was fun but a lot of hard work. And then you have your 18-hour bus ride coming back, so by the time you get to the meet you're pretty exhausted, but we held it together and had a really successful meet there. And then for our meet against Catholic, it was after our first week of classes. We had sort of a strange practice schedule going on, just a lot of busy things happening that week, and we had started a new weightlifting program, and whenever that happens, you know you're just going to be sore and hurting for at least a few days. So that's how we went into that meet, but that was also very successful. Won the meet, set a few pool records, which is always really exciting, and just goes to show that we've been rising to the challenges throughout the season, even when the odds are stacked against us.
Saturday's meet against VMI and Ferrum will be your final event of the regular season. What is the team looking to accomplish this weekend?
It's really strange to think that it's the last meet before we get to conference, but it's important for us to take every opportunity to race and not get complacent just because things have been going well, because it's one of our last chances. So we go into the meet recognizing that this is our last time to be up on the blocks racing before we get to ODAX. So it's really important for us to keep our goals in mind and think about where we want to be in a few weeks.
Looking ahead to the ODAC Championship, this will be the first year that the conference has sponsored a men's swimming title. How exciting is it to be able to compete for a conference crown at the same event as the men's team?
It's great to know that we're all going to be there together. Over the past couple years, we've been going through this merging process of the men's and women's team into one team. And now we practice together, we go to pretty much all of our meets together. We really are there for each other in and out of the pool. And in the past couple years, we've been going to ODAX without the men, and it's hard to get to that meet and have half of your team not there. You feel like a part of you is missing. And that's not what you want. That's not how you're most successful. So having our whole support system there is going to be giving us a huge advantage, I think, because we're going to have the energy to carry us through that long meet, and I expect that to show in our swimming.
What are the keys to postseason success for Washington and Lee?
When we get to this point in the season, we've already put in all of the long yardage, the tough sets, the weightlifting regimen, and all of that work has already been put into place. So it comes down to doing the little things right. Going to practice and focusing on all of the details of your technique and really thinking about perfection, I think, is what gets you to the end. But outside of the pool, it's also really important for us to eat right, stay on top of our studies, get enough sleep, which is easier said than done at a place like W&L, but it's all about having the right mindset going into ODAX.
Mary, thanks for joining us here. Good luck the rest of the season.
Thanks.
With me in the studio is Wesleigh Vick, junior basketball captain from Raleigh, North Carolina. Wesleigh, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
The Generals beat Randolph on Tuesday night to improve to 12-3. You've already doubled your win total from last season. I know you expected to see some improvement on the court here in 2014-15, but did you anticipate the team having this much success?
Personally, we were expecting improvements, but not at the rate that we've had them. We had a lot of fresh faces on the team. We almost doubled our roster from last year, and I know myself and a lot of the other returners thought that it would take some time to work out the kinks and get group cohesion, and that it would take some time to do that. But we've really just had so much success and bonded as a team and figured out everyone's strengths and weaknesses and how we can play up those strengths. And the success we've had so far and the rate that it's come to us really has been miraculous.
You mentioned the roster size, and depth seems to be one of the biggest reasons for the turnaround. How has having so many players changed the way you practice and changed the way you play games?
It's definitely been one of our biggest assets, I think. Like I said, we brought in 7 new players. That's almost double from last year, and it really has transformed what we've been able to do in practice and the game strategies that we've been able to employ. Last year, one of our biggest issues, I think, that we had throughout the season was just molding our practices so we could save our legs and rest and have energy for game time. And that kind of limited us a little bit. And even during games, we would just get worn out. You can only go so hard for so long when you have a small roster, but we just don't have that problem at all this year. We can get so many reps during practice and do whatever we need to at such a hard pace during practice to get ready for those games. And during games, we just have so many sets of fresh legs that getting worn out really isn't an issue for us anymore.
After starting 22 games as a sophomore, you've been coming off the bench for most of this season. How have you adjusted to a different role on the court?
That's one of the hardest adjustments for any athlete in any sport, I think. It's a tough pill to swallow when your work ethic and dedication haven't decreased, but your minutes do. And this program, it's not about me, it's not about any player in particular, it's about us working together to achieve something special and a common goal. But that being said, earning that starting position back is and will continue to be a goal of mine, and I hope and I think that my work ethic reflects that.
The roster features just 2 seniors. You've got a lot of first years and sophomores playing big minutes right now. Is this team ready to be a contender in the ODAC?
Absolutely, I think so. Like you said, we don't have that overwhelming senior presence, and we have a lot of fresh faces that contribute a lot, but I really do think that's worked in our favor based on our season last year and just not knowing what to expect from us because of the new people. I think a lot of our contenders have underestimated us and just not been able to predict what we were going to bring to the court when we play them. And I just think the diversity of skill and ability that we have from even our young players, our freshmen and sophomores, have just really brought us something special, and I'm excited to see what that's going to do for us come tournament time.
Wesleigh, thanks for joining us here. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
It's time now for a look at the upcoming weekend. Wrestling will travel to Baltimore for Centennial Conference matches against Johns Hopkins and Gettysburg. The men's and women's track and field teams head to Ohio for the Denison Lid Lifter. Men's and women's swimming will make the short trip across town to face VMI and Ferrum, while women's basketball plays host to Virginia Wesleyan at the Warner Center. And down in Greensboro, men's basketball will take on Guilford. For W&L Sports Weekly, I'm Jeremy Franklin. Thanks for watching.